Baggies fans, football fans, and sports fans to another icon showdown on this channel. Today, we're going to be looking at one recommended by somebody quite close to me, Astor 1968, also known as my Uncle Jim. And the player here suggested, and probably his biggest hero, is Super Bobby Taylor. You know what to do by now, guys. Smash the like button. Let's aim for 25 likes in this video. Leave a comment. Let me know who you want to feature. I've already had Chris Bunt suggested. Then Cantelo's been suggested as well. So make sure you get your suggestions down below and you see who player can be featured next week. And let's get into the story of why the Baggies fans love Super Bobby Taylor. Now, Bob Taylor was born on the 3rd of February 1967 in Eastington, County Durham. He wasn't a local West Brom lad by birth, but you'd never know it. It was from the way he played and how much he was loved by the Baggies fans. Taylor was a classic English centre forward who was built from the rough and tumble of the lower league football in the late 80s and early 90s. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't the most technical gifted player you'd ever seen, but he was determined, strong, sharp in the box, and absolutely relentless. That attitude, giving 100% every game, is exactly why Albion fans took to him in their hearts so quickly and why we still sing his name today in the terraces. Before he joined the Albion, Taylor had already made his name for himself as a reliable goalscorer. He started in non-league with Hawthorns Colliery before signing for Leeds United in 1968. At Leeds, he didn't really get the chance to make himself a first-team regular, scoring 9 goals in 42 league appearances. But his big breakthrough came at Bristol City, who signed him in 1989. At Ashton Gate, he really exploded onto the scene. In 3 seasons, he scored 50 goals in 106 league appearances. He was the Division Three's top scorer in 1989 to 1990 with 27 goals. He built a reputation as one of the most reliable goal poachers in English football. When Albion signed him in February 1992, it was seen as a big signing for us and a statement of intent. Taylor arrived at the Hawthorns and was an immediate success. He scored on his debut in a 2-0 win over Brentford, and by the end of the 91-92 season, he'd scored 8 goals in 12 matches, helping Albion steer away from relegation worries. Fans loved his instinct for goal, always seeming to pop up at the right place at the right time. But it was the following season where he truly wrote himself into Albion folklore. In the 92-93 season, he's still talked about with real affection by Albion fans. Taylor was simply unplayable that year. He ended up scoring 30 league goals and 37 in all competitions, making him the division's top scorer. He wasn't just scoring tap-ins either. Penalties, volleys, one-on-ones, he was doing it all. That season culminated in Albion's famous promotion via the playoffs. It was a moment etched into the club's modern history, and while he didn't score in that playoff, he did so much to help the others score. Now, there's a bit of a myth, obviously, with Bob Taylor. You know, we did win that game 3-0, goals coming from Andy Hunt, Nicky Reid and Kenneth Doven. Taylor didn't get on that score sheet, but that doesn't mean he wasn't crucial in getting us there. In the semi-final against Swansea City, Taylor made a surging run that drew a red card foul from Swansea's Jason Bowen. The incident completely changed the tie in Albion's favour. And even at Wembley, as I mentioned, though he didn't score, he led that line tirelessly, occupying defenders and helping set the platform for the other goals. He was a team player through and through. Now, a lot of obviously Albion fans know that the 2 up front we had with him was Andy Hunt, and their partnership was absolutely deadly. They formed one of the most feared strike partnerships in the division in the mid-90s. Hunt was physical, intelligent in his movement, and dominant in the air. Taylor was a classic poacher, always ready to pounce on any loose balls. They understood each other perfectly. Defenders hated playing against them because they offered a complete package of a threat. For Albion fans, their partnership represented a new era of optimism, especially after the struggle of the late 80s. Another big part of Taylor's legend is the connection he built with fans. He wasn't a prima donna, he didn't act like he was better than the club or the supporters. He was always approachable, he'd always stop, sign autographs and have a chat. On the pitch, he gave everything. He chased down last courses. He battled for every header. The sort of player that Albion fans always love. Someone who worked for the badge. Their attitude earned him the name Super Bob, which followed him from Bristol City, but truly became famous at the Hawthorns. And, you know, as I mentioned there, Uncle Jim, who asked me to do this message, it meant that much to him that he actually named his son Bob Taylor as well. So we have a Bobby Taylor growing up in the family as well. And that just shows how much, you know, this player meant to a lot of people growing up in that era. Taylor's Albion journey wasn't just a single spell either. In 1998, he left the club to join Bolton Wanderers. He'd been Albion's top scorer for 6 seasons straight, and his departure was a blow. But in classic Albion fashion, that wasn't the end of the story. In March 2000, Gary Megson brought him back as a desperate bid to avoid relegation to Division 2. Taylor delivered in spectacular style. He scored 5 goals in 8 matches, including a final vital day winner against Charlton Athletic to ensure survival. That spec and spell alone would have gone on to amend him in hero status, but there was even more to come from him. In the 2001 to 2002 season, Taylor produced this.
By dint of Wolves losing, they want to win handsomely. And Neil Clement's prize with his left foot has been a feature of the season. It is Clement, and it's awkward, it's Taylor! It's 2-0!
What a goal that was. This famous 2-0 win over Crystal Palace on the final day to seal promotion to the Premier League for the first time in West Bromwich Albion's history. Even though he's older and no longer the guaranteed starter he'd been in the early 90s, he still delivered when it mattered most. Unfortunately, the season after that, he probably wasn't treated as well by the club. He fell out with Megson and only really had 4 appearances, and it was a big shame. He said that he'd been training with the academy team and hadn't really spoken to Megson for 4 months, and it's such a shame for a player like that to go out that way. And probably should have been treated a lot better, but he's still seen down the Hawthorns quite regularly, really. And it's great to see that he's still involved and still spends time down the club where we all love him. Across his entire Albion career, Taylor scored 131 goals in 377 appearances. That makes him the club's, one of the club's all-time top scorers. He's possibly, I think he was about 5th in the post-war top goal scorers, which is fantastic, for somebody that spent so long at the club to be up there. That makes you a club legend, that does. And of course, there's a chant, Super Bobby Taylor. It rang out across the Hawthorns throughout the 90s. Even now, you'll still hear it echo around the ground because Albion fans don't forget the players who gave them everything. For me, Bob Taylor is one of the best examples of what it means to be an Albion player. Hard-working, honest, brave, and a natural goal scorer. Players like that don't just come and go, they stay in the hearts of supporters forever. And while I might have not seen him play live, the stories I hear around the ground of him and from my own family members show that he was so, so loved by the club. And that's it for today's Icon Spotlight on Super Bobby Taylor. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like. Obviously, we've just hit over 250 subscribers, which is absolutely mental. On the road to 300, there is a Q&A coming, so if you've got any questions, leave them down below as well. And I'll be doing that video soon. Let me know in your comments as well, what's your favourite Bob Taylor moment? Who should I cover next? Obviously, I've already had Chris Brunt and Len Cantello suggested, so they will be coming. Thanks for watching, and remember, up the Albion.